niggas have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.
What exactly did black people ever do?
What did we do for white people to hate us so much?
Like, I'm genuinely asking, what did we ever do to deserve anti-blackness in every single community?
There's no fixing this. This can't be fixed. Right? This can't be fixed. You just have to escape. So that's what I did. I went to a neighborhood where, I have a very low black population.
Make it stop. Make the hurt stop, please. Like,
Cracks in the ceiling, just like my heart, tearing us apart from the very start. Didn't see it coming, blind as I could be. Now the cracks are showing for all the world to see.
What is up? What is up? Good morning. Good morning. It is the Lord's Day. Some of you guys got all prayed up before you got here. Good for you. Good for you. Shout out to the church going folk out there. And good morning to the lovely Miss Cantrell. Thank you so much for that. Shout out to Carmen for the 199 super chat. We are going to talk about Charlie Kirk and the black people today.
What exactly did black people ever do?
What did we do for white people to hate us so much?
Like, I'm genuinely asking, what did we ever do to deserve anti-blackness in every single community?
What did Charlie actually say about the black peoples? Because, allegedly, Charlie was very, very unkind in his commentary toward the black peoples. And that is basically the major reason why a lot of the black peoples are kind of gleeful about Charlie's passing. They're definitely not sad, right? At minimum, they're not bothered. At worst, they're tap dancing and spitting on his grave. Lovely people those blacks are.
These blacks.
And according to them, the reason being for such behavior is because Charlie said some mean words about the black peoples. And so, me being me, I say, well, let's take a look at these mean words. We're all brave enough to handle a few mean words over here. We're not like those other people. And so we want to listen to Charlie say mean words about the blacks.
Beyonce, even though she's, I guess, one of the biggest music stars ever, I find her music to be awful, unlistenable.
Same.
And just, quite honestly, just noise. It's not music.
All right, right away, Charlie, right away. Anybody that hates Beyonce deserves to die. All right, these are the rules. It's not me. It's in your handbook. Look, go read your black handbook. Right away, I see why they're upset with you, Charlie. Now, I've never bought nor have I listened to any Beyonce albums. I am only familiar with Beyonce music that actually makes it onto the radio or maybe had a music video. You know, like normal guys, right? I don't really buy Beyonce things, right? But I have never ever spoken against the queen of Black culture. I have never said not one word to disparage Beyonce nor the Bayhive by extension, all right? Because those are the rules of Black. Those are the rules of being Black. You have to worship Beyonce. So right away, man already on death row, bro.
Beyonce, even though she's, I guess, one of the biggest music stars ever, I find her music to be awful, unlistenable, and just, quite honestly, just noise. It's not music. It's disgusting.
It feels so good to be alive.
We listen and we don't judge. All right? We listen and we don't judge because that is the queen of the community. That is the queen of the culture. And I cannot say anything. I will not because I am good Black people, and that's not how good Black people behave. We listen and we don't judge. That is the queen. So anyway, like I said, Charlie, he's gonna say some things about the community, and we have to talk about this. We have to talk about this. What did Charlie say about the Black people that make the Black people so angry? Because, you know, the niggas are mad, bro. There's a lot of angry Black people out there.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
This is about targeting women of color in the United States of America. Don't tell me, because I didn't get a single apology.
Time has expired.
My life was threatened. Thank you.
Hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad, hoes mad.
And go back to the music that built our civilization. I'm sorry, if I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. When Blacks in America did not have the same rights they had today, they were less murderous, there was less break-ins. Why is that? And the data shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad, it was evil, but what happened? A certain skin color now gets their own summertime celebration. Oh, wow, look how far Blacks have come. It has now become a racial complaining day. Remember what BLM stands for: burn, loot, and murder.
Yeah, DEI stands for
one of the biggest.
Didn't earn it, just so we're clear.
Can we also acknowledge, due to the laws under Jim Crow, that Black people were significantly hindered from economic advancement?
This is a really important question. The data shows not really. Black Americans are poorer today in 2024 than they were in the 1950s. The disappearance of the Black father has been the #1 driver of Black poverty in this country. We at least agree that Black dads not being around is a bad thing.
Anyone's father not being around.
You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat sympathy. I can't stand the word.
Oh, I know that last one stung a bit.
You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat sympathy. I can't stand the word empathy. Actually, I think empathy is a made up new age term that does a lot of damage, but
A lot of people are going to be saying happy Juneteenth. It should not be a federal holiday, and I'm on my way to work.
see a Black pilot, you wonder, you say, I hope they are qualified. If I see a Black pilot, I'm going to be like, boy, I hope he's qualified. I'm dealing with somebody in.
You know, that is the irony of all of this Charlie Kirk anti-Black talk. Charlie Kirk doesn't say anything that is radically far away from what your mainstream Black conservatives would say, right? Like, I'm way more to the right than Charlie Kirk is probably. So it's actually kind of interesting listening to Charlie Kirk sound like me when I'm being nice about things, right? Charlie sounds like a moderate version of me.
Customer service who's a moronic Black woman. I wonder, is she there because of her excellence, or is she there because of affirmative action? Thomas Sowell and Justice Clarence Thomas are far better black role models to celebrate than Martin Luther King. Period. End of story. This guy is not worthy of a national holiday. He is not worthy of godlike status. In fact, I think it's really hard. You do not have the brain processing power to otherwise be taken really seriously. You had to go steal a white person's slot to go be taken somewhat serious. And the paradigm.
I typically don't take harsh actions against the people that pop up in the chat, but we're not going to be talking about the man kids today. Go fuck yourself, Josh.
That they constituted under George Floyd, the moment that we make them have to live up to their own standard, they start to cry foul. As soon as we start to make them live up to the George Floyd standard, oh, what is Charlie Kirk racializing this? And by the way, Van Jones also has a major lie embedded into this whole thing. Listen carefully. Race.
So yeah, Charlie, he upset the black audience with his rhetorics and all that.
So we're not going to talk about white supremacy? Like, we're not going to talk about the fact that the vast majority of these shootings, whether they are seen as political or not, if we look at the numbers, white supremacy ideology. But we don't want to do anything about that. There's no legislation that they want to bring. Every time you say white supremacy, they want to yell, oh, you're race baiting. No, I am going on facts. Like, these crimes, when we look at these mass shootings, most of them are linked to neo-Nazism or, you know, Proud Boys or whatever. It's always some white supremacy kind of thing that's going on. It's not black folk that are going out there. It's not immigrants that are going out there. But what cities are we going into? Black cities, because...
So the transgender, well, put it this way. The shooter in the Charlie Kirk assassination is definitely pro-trans, was living with a transgender lover, apparently. And now that the FBI and other invisible agencies, they are apparently looking into what might be a transgender terrorist cell operating, you know, wherever that guy lived. Apparently there's a group of them. There were messages put online kind of forecasting the events. And so now people are backtracking. And I said this earlier on a different panel, like, this is what has to happen next. We're going to backtrack IDs and we're going to start throwing people in vans, bro. We're going to start putting up white vans and black bags. That's what's going to happen. A white van's going to pull up and a black bag's going to get thrown over your head. And you're going to have to answer questions in a little dark room in a foreign country. Yeah, but white supremacy, though. Right.
We are supposedly the ones that commit all the crime. Which people are we going after? Immigrants, because allegedly it's immigrants. But we don't want to have a talk about what the numbers say, what the facts say, which is that we have a white supremacy problem in this country. So until we decide to deal with the problem, we're going to continue to have a problem. So we're not going to talk.
I think we have a transgender insanity problem. I think that there are a lot of violent, mentally unstable people in this country, and they are problematic.
They have done. They killed Charlie because he preached a message of patriotism, faith, and of God's merciful.
You talking about the Charlie that just died? He preached God's merciful what? Hold on, Lily. Now we understand that you are grieving right now, so your anger is directed towards the wrong people. But who the fuck is they? I can honestly say our community had nothing to do with this here, boo-boo. You need to be saying the person name that actually did it, because they is not us. Okay? Because don't start no riot here. We ain't do shit. They...
Jay Sanders in the chat. Is that you again, Josh? Jay Sanders says, oh, they are white, so they are mentally unstable, but blacks are thugs. Well, you know, a lot of blacks are mentally unstable too. That makes you feel any better, Josh? Jay Sanders.
Means Tyler and his parents must be. That's what you're talking about. Because, yeah, them was the only people that, you know, was involved in this shit. It was not they. Y'all be so quick to put us all hell to the no. This is the one that we are not united and we do not stand together. This, hey, we gonna stand up out of this bitch. No, this right here is private property. Don't bring your ass up here to no damn they. No, him, them.
You know, it's such a weird thing. It's almost like black people are attempting to own his death and then not own it at the same time. Because by making it about black people for whatever odd reason, it's almost as if black folk are attempting to somehow own some of his death, but then you don't actually want to own his death because it's not even about you. This was a transgender thing, right? Are you now aligning with the insane transgender army? Does your blackness compel you to stand shoulder to shoulder with the crazy Trantifa army? Is that how you roll now because of your blackness? You are so black that you have no problem joining the transgender militia. It's a weird thing. It's a very strange display of main character syndrome, SKC, right? Because even though Charlie said some things about black people that you may not appreciate, he didn't die because of black people. Charlie Kirk's death has no bearing on Black America whatsoever until after the fact, which is hilarious and dangerously ironic. Like, you niggas really are the main characters of everything, and that's a problem.
Hell to the no. And then you merciful love. I'm trying to find a video where I seen that at. Merciful. You ain't quote nothing out the scripture. Hold on, let's see that again.
They should all know this. If you thought that my husband's mission was powerful before, you have no idea.
Are you threatening us? Because what does that mean? If you thought my husband's mission, no, the mission is complete.
What do you mean threatening us, though? Like, that has nothing to do with black people, unless you wanted to. Like, black folk could have stayed home. Black folk could have been chilling, watching football, and had no weight on any of their shoulders. But no, now you want to be the us. Like, she wasn't talking about you. Unless you are a radical, transgender, violent extremist, you could sit your black ass down. You can get your black ass back. But no, now you have to be in the middle of it. You have to now be a part of the Trantifa army. You are a confused nigga.
You know what I'm saying? War over. You know? I'm talking about
Are you
first
scratching
stop
your weave?
for his mission was done that same in Utah. So the mission is done, baby. So we want you to just take your time, baby, and grieve and get off of the internet. Like everybody tell us when it's time for us to get off of the internet, baby. Take you a moment, gather your thoughts, and come back with another statement, because that one ain't it, boo. I'm telling you now. They, us, they ain't got shit to do with what happened to Charlie. Put that on top of them. Thank you.
Right. So why you think she's talking to you? There's a whole transgender militia out there on the warpath. They got little networks and Reddit threads and all this stuff, bro. They're about to get cracked open by the FBI, and you want your black ass to somehow be in the conversation. And you know, the thing is, it's almost a point of obsession now. Like, we really have nothing to do with his dying, but we have to make it about us because you feel so many feelings right now.
The reason he was labeled a white supremacist is because he believed in the superiority of white people.
And let me stop right there. Shout out to True Hype with the 5-ball. He says, if so many black people say this is none of their business, why are they talking about it so much? And he listens and he judges immediately. Well, I know that you listen and you judge, and I listen to you judging, and I listen and don't judge you for listening and judging, okay? So it all evens out in the long run. You can judge on my behalf, and I will not judge you for that. Deal?
Which is why he said that he would be concerned if he saw a black pilot. Which is why he said that he questioned the brain processing of brilliant minds such as Joy Ann Reid and Ketanji Brown Jackson.
Shit, well, so do I. I have made those exact same claims. Hell, I think Snowman actually recorded my rant about the black pilot thing. Because I went on this whole thing about, like, you know, back in the day, if you saw a black pilot, like in the World War II era, you know, this nigga had to fly planes, fight Nazis, and defeat racism. Like, that nigga was the shit. You would trust him with your life. Nowadays, you can show up all gay and illiterate and they'll just let you fly. I don't know if I trust it anymore.
Because he ultimately believed in the superiority of white people. So I don't think I'm being insensitive by bringing that up. And the only reason I feel like I even need to bring that up is because of the counter narrative that is establishing itself. And that's the problem with history and the problem with receipts, is that you can't erase the receipts. You can't, you know, I learned this a long time ago, and I'm sure you guys have heard this before, is that people don't remember what you do, although a lot of times they do, but more importantly, they remember how you made them feel. And Charlie Kirk, with his words and with his influence, he made a lot of people who were not straight white Christian men feel less than.
So I'm guessing Jemele Hill is not a straight white Christian man. And Charlie Kirk made her feel feelings. Deep, deep, boundless feelings.
Oh man, hey.
Charlie Kirk made her feel feelings she didn't want to feel. Clue Studios with the 5-ball. He says, blacks have done this before. Remember when black women were offended that none of Epstein's young victims were black? Oh, that was a great day.
But does anyone see that? No. Does anyone care about that? No. All they see is an aggressive black girl talking.
No, Jay Sanders, you don't have to give him empathy because he didn't believe in empathy. What he actually believed in is sympathy. If you read the full quote about that empathy thing, he says, I can't stand the word empathy. I think empathy is a made-up New Age term, and it does a lot of damage. Sympathy is a better word because empathy means you are actually feeling what another person felt, and no one can feel what another person feels. Like, you cannot feel the bullet penetrating your carotid artery. So you cannot empathize with him in that. You can have sympathy for his family and his children, though.
Feel less than human, feel less than qualified, feel a lot of less thans. That's how he made them feel, and that was his entire purpose. So we have room in our big old brains for multiple thoughts, for being upset and angry about what Charlie was.
Yo, hold up. We have to stop now. This is totally unrelated to anything, but does Jemele Hill have a hairline that lives in a slightly different area code? I just realized Jemele Hill has a hairline, but then she has a hairline behind the hairline. It's like a faux hairline. You see, there's the hairline, and then there's a line behind the hairline. It's like an optical illusion. I'm having a hard time tracking where the one hairline ends and the other hairline begins. This is a weird... Is this like a new black girl style I'm not up on yet?
We need our weave. I don't wear it, but we need it.
This bitch got a floating hairline.
Feel a lot of less thans. That's how he made them feel, and that was his entire purpose. So we have room in our big old brains for multiple thoughts, for being upset and angry about what Charlie what happened to Charlie Kirk, because it says a lot about our political discourse in this moment, but also being reflective enough to surface what also made him somebody whose influence was dangerous in a lot of respect and contributed to the political atmosphere in which we're living now.
Who contributed to that hairline, though? I bet you if your hairline was stronger, you wouldn't even feel as bad as you feel about Charlie's words. Like, if you had a proper hairline, nothing he said would make you feel as bad as you feel right now. I put money on that. If your hairline was helpful, you wouldn't even be caring about no Charlie Kirk.
And before we, before I sort of move on to a few other things that were on my mind as I thought about this entire tragic incident, I'm tired of white supremacist beliefs being considered a difference of opinion. I'm really sick of that. You know what's a difference of opinion? Is if you like DC and I like Marvel. That's a difference of opinion. If you say Drake is the greatest rapper of all time and I think it's Jay-Z.
I think your hairline should start here. You think your hairline should start way over there. That is a difference of opinion. All right? That is a valid, legitimate point of discussion. How much distance is appropriate between two hairlines? Right? That is an actual difference of opinion.
That's a difference of opinion. What's not considered a difference of opinion? If you think Black people are inherently inferior to white people, and I think the opposite, that is not a difference of opinion.
I would love for somebody to pull up the clip of him actually saying that Black people are somehow inferior. I mean, maybe he did say it. Maybe he said it, but I'd like to see the actual clip.
That is you being a racist. And we have, unfortunately, put matters of humanity in the bucket of politics where it does not belong. See, it's not political to say that Black people are unqualified and inherently criminal. That is not a political belief. That is a white supremacist belief. Because you're ascribing a pathology to a people, to a construct of race, which is made up, by the way, and made up for the entire and sole purpose of being able to establish who's on top and who's on bottom. But that's a history lesson for another day. But if you don't believe that I am as human as you, that I deserve respect and dignity just because I'm here, that's not a difference of opinion, and we ain't got shit else to talk about.
Maybe you don't deserve anything just because you're here, though. I think that is a point of discussion worthy of having. Like, why should you be deserving of something just because you showed up? Like, other than the basics, life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, like, why should you deserve a thing? Because deserve kind of implies you did something to get to that point, right? Like, if I work 8 hours a day, I deserve an honest day's pay, right? But if I just showed up at somebody else's job, why should they give me a paycheck? Like, why do I deserve anything for just showing up?
So this idea that Charlie Kirk, what it boiled down to with him was differing beliefs. It didn't boil down to that. It boiled down to the fact that he out loud and made a living off questioning the humanity and dignity and respect of others. That is how he made his living. And we can lie about it, but that's the truth. And he's not the only one that's making that living. So this is not a problem that started over or was created by Charlie Kirk. This is part of our political ecosystem. Is that, yeah, people are able to make money off indignity. And so the fact that it's been trivialized, we're at a point we're so desensitized by the things that we see, by the things that are happening. We're so desensitized by it that we can't even have the guts to call something or understand what's a political belief and what is really someone not believing in people's dignity and humanity.
Isn't it all political though? I mean, didn't the left wing tell us that everything is political? You know, even the personal is political. And so now we're at this point. Now when the right wing is fully engaged in that argument, suddenly, oh no, we can't talk about that. No, that's out of bounds. And really, it's a cover. It's to force you to not have particular conversations. And that's really why a guy like Charlie Kirk is hated so much. And especially if you're like on the right wing and you talk about black stuff, you get double hate. And the point is for no one to ever have open and honest, frank discussions about the nature of the community and all that it entails.
Those are different things. And so as I'm reading all this stuff about and paying attention to how people are talking about and memorializing Charlie Kirk, I'm insulted by the fact that they think his beliefs are just about a difference of opinion. I can live with a difference of opinion. We can be friends over a difference of opinion. Okay.
Can we be friends over your hairline? Like if you stood on one side and I stood on the other, are we close enough to shake hands?
Okay. You like tomatoes? I don't. That's cool. You like your pizza this way? I don't. That's totally fine. Oh, I think because you're black that you don't deserve the same treatment. Gotta stop you right there. That's a different conversation.
And so, you know, obviously the black peoples have a lot of words and feelings about Charlie Kirk and such. But I notice it's mostly just feelings. Let me show you something that's happening on a college campus. This is a video just came out in the last day or two.
They just recently paid it off. For 300 years, they fought against barbarian college.
I've yet to receive my reparations for slavery.
You don't deserve it.
Did you see what just happened? He said you don't deserve reparations, and she says he just called me a nigger.
They fought against barbarian college.
I've yet to receive my reparations for slavery.
You don't deserve it. Hey, she talking about slavery. Africa still has 2 million slaves to this day. Okay, your ancestors did. You didn't do shit. What did you do today? You woke up free. You woke up free. You woke up. You ate breakfast. You did everything.
And you're arguing with the
You're
woman.
a free woman. You're a free woman. No, because you're making an invalid point. It doesn't make any sense.
Well,
Miss, they just.
A lot of young white men are going to start telling her, start telling a lot of the black women out there, you don't deserve shit. And the black women are going to respond by saying, you basically just called me a nigger. This is an amazing moment. I watched this replicate itself over and over again over the next couple of years.
They paid it off. For 300 years, they fought against barbarian college.
I've yet to receive my reparations for slavery.
You don't deserve it.
Emotional damage. You want some therapy?
And not everyone took to his words or his rhetoric. You know, at times they were offensive too.
Another nigga with hurt feelings. He's so hurt. Charlie had him in so much pain. Can you see all the pain in his face that Charlie caused him?
Specific communities. But with that said, this is not the time to focus on that. We are focused on this tragedy. Speaking of this tragedy, is this a moment for your party to reflect on political violence? Is it a moment for us to think about the responsibility of our political leaders and their voices and what it does to the masses as they get lost in misinformation or disinformation that turns in and spills into political violence?
I say both parties. You know,
I don't even say parties. I say a nation.
Okay.
And if there's a moment
Even
in time
better.
we want to look to, and I looked back and I watched this again when Robert F. Kennedy is running. He's in Indianapolis, and he just got the news that Martin Luther King was killed. And he has to tell the crowd because we don't have social media at that time. And it was remarkable the words he said. He said, we have to ask as a nation, who are we? And how do we want to move forward? We have watched this political attack on both sides. We watched what happened in Minnesota. We watched what happened to President Trump. We've watched this on both sides. This is not a question about parties. This is a question about nations.
Stop with this both sides bullshit. That Minnesota thing had nothing to do with Republicans. That was in-house Democrat violence right there.
We cannot normalize this, but Charlie was not elected. Charlie was not doing something where you would sit there and one party say something wrong. He was honoring. He was doing it on a college where ideas. This is what happened in the 60s. This is a moment in time for this nation to take this time to actually make a question about all of us.
We don't want to go back to the 60s.
We don't.
That was a more violent period than people recall.
Yeah, left-wing radical violence. That's what happened in the 60s. You guys was losing your shit. The hippies got all high on PCP and freedom. And next thing you know, they turned into terrorists. Like the hippie to domestic terrorism pipeline is actually real. You guys wouldn't believe it. Love, peace, and bloody communist revolution.
Right. So when segregation ended, right, black people were, when slavery ended, actually, black people were just forced wherever, right? So they had nowhere to go. And then there was laws put in place to put them into prison. And after...
It's okay. No. What's your name? Guys, what's your name? Jackson. It takes a lot of courage to come up here.
Yeah, no,
Let's
I
just
know.
take a deep breath.
I-
Okay, I'm not here to pick on you.
No,
and
I
I
need to get my
appreciate it.
thoughts together.
No, it's okay.
I
know that
knew
this can be very intimidating getting into a crowd like this. So just take a deep breath. Let me make your argument. I'm going to make your argument for you, and I'm going to tell you why I think it's wrong. Okay?
Okay, yeah.
Is that fair?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the
Okay,
argument that is being made that you want to make is that there's legacies of injustice.
Yes.
And that those legacies impact one generation after the other. And when those things get handed down, you have what is a system or a systemic issue that isn't just isolated in 2024. So the argument that you're making is that what happened in 1954 does impact 2024 of decade after decade after decade. Let me tell you my response to that. Of course, there is some truth to that. However, every culture, every person in this audience can point to issues that families or generations prior had that were able to overcome. So the question is, why is it that Black America is one of the only populations, that and Native American populations, that have not been able to overcome such evil, horrors, and injustices? Here's my perspective, and I want to hear what you have to say, is that the number one way to keep people out of poverty, lower the crime rate, and have a better society is whether or not you have a mom and a dad around, which we agree that's an ideal. Yeah? Cool. Yeah. And so what happened in 1964 is that 25% of Black youth were raised by a single mom. Today, it's nearly 75%, about 70%.
Now, these hateful remarks that Charlie is making about the Black family, these very deceitful, from the pits of hell remarks about the Black family, are the exact remarks that the Black manosphere has been making about the Black family for the last 15 years now.
So that means that 1 in 4 Black kids will have a father around. Only 1 in 4. That's the number one issue happening in the country, and it's not because of systemic racism. I'd like to hear what you have to say about that.
Okay, so I think I misjudged you at first. Like when you brought up the 1350 stat, I had like just assumed that it was like inherently like eugenics based kind of, you know? So, and that's where mine came from. Like, I think we are on the same page that like we know what the problem is. And that's what I mean. Like,
No,
the
and that's,
education.
thank you for saying that, because I think we actually have a lot more in common in this country than the media would ever believe.
No, definitely. Right. And like, what my point was, I was trying to say is, I don't think that we're doing enough to help these Black communities catch up, where as like they're underfunded and they're not, and they're over policed, and there's these factors that are contributing to, like you said, these single parent households.
Yeah,
like,
so we're not going to agree on this. This is where we'll disagree, and that's okay. I have more of a view of Thomas Sowell on this, where he believes it's far more about culture, values, and worldview than stuff and over.
Is this a young white guy basing part of his worldview on the wisdom of an older Black guy? That's really weird. I didn't think, I thought a white supremacist would never. This young white guy is basing some of his worldview on the wisdoms of an older Black gentleman. Gotta sit with that for a minute.
You teach me all my life that the white man is the devil? You teach me my whole life that the white man is the devil. Now you tell me it's all right for him to come among us.
And that's okay. I have more of a view of Thomas Sowell on this, where he believes it's far more about culture, values, and worldview than stuff and over policing. I believe there's not enough police in Black neighborhoods. You're going to disagree with that. Let's not even get into it, okay? But I think we can ask a question, and I want your opinion. Why is it that the single motherhood rate in Black America went from 25% to 75% over 50 years, where America did become less racist?
You see how like calm and polite and respectful he's being right now? That's how well he hides his racism. This is him being polite is racism, okay? Him being respectful is like hard R body language, right? You just have to learn how to interpret the signs, right?
What, like, why did it?
Yeah, so what caused Black America to go from one of the strongest nuclear family communities in the country to now the weakest by far?
I can't answer your question.
No, that's okay. No, that's great. And again, it's hard to get up and have these conversations. Here's my opinion. My opinion is that, yes, there was some social welfare that subsidized single motherhood, which means it's easier to get cash from the government if you say you are single than if you are married. I think we can agree that's stupid. That shouldn't happen, right? But I would love your perspective on this. Do you think in Black culture, getting married and staying with one woman for your entire life is elevated and celebrated?
No, not at all.
I think that's the problem.
I think the problem stems from a lack of education. I think these communities don't have, I don't think a lot of them have the proper.
How much education do you need to love one another? This feels like a great debate fodder for SKC and I. How much education is required for one person to love another person, or for a group of people to internally just love themselves? Like, how much education do you really need? And I thought Black women were already the most educated. You know, that is weird.
Education or learning from previous to realize what will lead them to a more successful future. I think that if we funded more education in these systems, then these men wouldn't be so focused on stuff like gang violence to get protection or money or
you have a
other
great
stuff like that, and then end up in prison and then end up with their child having a single mother.
Fair enough. So
sorry, I didn't.
No, it's great. So there's a lot of examples that there's some merit to your argument, but it's more about the quality of education than the amount of money we spend on it.
Yeah.
Such as, that's why I'm a big proponent of school choice and educational vouchers and opposing the teacher unions. But the core is this, is that.
Hey, Carmen, you're absolutely right. The answer is always more money. If you notice, right, no matter what type of problem is being described, the solution, and it really, it almost always comes off as some type of mafia threat with like black folk, like, if you don't give us our reparations, we're gonna tear this motherfucker down or some shit. Like, if you don't give us funding for our wayward youth, then we're gonna rob, loot, steal, we're gonna burn, loot, and murder. And it's like, that is a weird way of asking for help.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I would do. Give me the money.
Literally, just like that.
That the number one predictor for a kid of any skin color, black, white, Asian, Hispanic, is whether or not dad is around.
Right.
And I look as an outsider, albeit, at current black culture, right? From the athletes to the rap music to the music, I don't see the nuclear family elevated, nor is it an internal black cultural expectation. Now, I will ask some of the white individuals here in this audience, okay? If you guys got pregnant and all of a sudden you didn't even know who the father was around, how would your parents react? Not great, right? Yes. Unfortunately, in Black America, this is kind of accepted. Would you agree?
I can't say. I grew up around a lot of white people, so I can't
All right,
say.
okay.
Like,
Well, so, but
see, you wouldn't even know. You wouldn't even know. And this is another thing I realized about a lot of these conversations. It's like a lot of the upper middle class speaking on behalf or in defense of the impoverished lower class, as if you truly understand their dynamics, and you just don't. You just don't.
it is a fact that it is accepted, right? So that's the problem. The problem is that it's a cultural norm that has then turned into the cycle of poverty. The cycle of poverty can break very quickly if fathers stayed with the women they impregnate.
But most of these fathers aren't just leaving. A large majority of these fathers are ending up in prison. Like,
Okay,
this is
good point. Why do you go to prison?
Because you commit crime. But because
yeah.
the prison system has been targeted against minorities.
Again, we're not going to agree here.
Right,
and that's
we're not.
okay.
Yeah.
There's actually under enforcement of the laws when it comes where there's, for example, only half of murders in Chicago get solved.
Right, but are
that
they
means
all black people though?
Almost all of them, yeah. Like 80,
Well,
80.
if they're not solved, how do we know that they're black people?
Well, because it's a black victim in a black neighborhood by a black gang. So it's like you can assume at a great approximation that in the west side of Chicago,
50%.
It's already statistically been proven the vast majority of black victims are at the hands of black assailants. There's very little interracial white on black crime.
Of the murders in Chicago that go unsolved are all black people.
not all. No, I said 85%. But we don't know who the perp is. But again, if you have a black victim at 2 a.m. in a black neighborhood, it's reasonable to say that it was a black on black crime. 90% of murders after 2 a.m. in Chicago are black on black crimes. I'm from Chicago. Right. I happen to know it. So, right. But like half of all murders in Chicago are unsolved, that means half of all murderers are walking free. So we have an under enforcement of laws. We have the ladies here in this audience should know this. You know that there's over 600,000 rape kits in this country that have not even been opened or tested, which means that there are women who say that they've been raped and their kits are not even put in the system. There are probably hundreds of thousands of rapists that walk free in this country.
Yeah, no, our system is
no. What I'm saying though, that's an under enforcement of laws, though.
Yeah, because our system is terrible.
No, I know, but you said we have an over enforcement. I don't think we have enough people in jail.
You don't think we have enough people?
No, like I said, half of all murderers walk free. We don't even know who they are.
Okay, but
yeah, that tarantula monster could have been in jail, but you know, tarantula monster's out of jail right now. I swear to God, go look into it. The tarantula monster is out of jail. He's not exactly free. He's been released to one of these mental health facilities, but he's not in state custody at the moment. Yeah. Do I ever lie to you about these kinds of things? I might be wrong occasionally, but I never intentionally lie to you guys.
Okay, and I sure, whatever, but I'm talking, I don't think that I don't think that black people are as more than 50% of exonerations from prison are black people. Like, a black person is more likely than any other race to be tried for a crime that they did not commit and then to be released from prison for a crime that they did not commit.
That exoneration number is so damn low, bro. They are not letting a bunch of niggas out of jail like that every year, man.
they're that's not totally true. Let's pretend that it is. It's because they're in front of the justice system more because of the high crime. But let's try to find some agreement.
I'm talking percentages of exonerations. Like
no, it's because they're in the system more though. It's because you have more cases. But anyway, let's pretend that's true. Let's pretend the system's totally racist.
Actually, there's more white people in the system because white people make up like what? Like
no, for sure.
So you were just incorrect there, right? Like you're doing to me.
But they don't commit as many crimes.
Okay, so let's be cordial. Let's be cordial.
You're not being, so let's calm down a little bit, okay?
You're not being.
Am I being sweet to this guy?
Okay. But
all right. Let me ask you one question in closing, though. If you could, okay, if you could say to Black America, here is more money, more stuff, more housing, or more fathers, which one would you choose?
More funding. I don't.
More funding.
Give me the money. Give me the money for all that I would do. Give me the money.
Think because fathers, I think that you need to solve the problem from the bottom. I don't think you can just plant a bunch of fathers in and they're going to stay there. Like you said, they're just going to like in the culture. It's not part of the culture. So they would just leave.
It's a hypothetical, meaning if the fathers were to stay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, sure. If like I just knew for 100% fact that they were going to stay.
No,
sure.
we have agreement. So during the.
Now you understand his position is that. And it's almost a racist position in and of itself to say that, well, they're just gonna leave anyway, right? You know, they're black guys. They're just gonna leave anyway. Might as well give the women the money. You know, everybody knows the black guys just run off.
The BLM stuff 4 years ago, did we hear anything from the national BLM leaders or anybody about black dads staying around with women they impregnate? Did anyone mention that?
No.
Why? They're actually, it's the fundamental issue. The fundamental issue is if you have a father around, less likely to commit crimes, more likely to graduate high school, more likely to get a job, less likely to be in poverty.
How do we get there? Like this is what I'm like. No, how do we get there?
Well, the first of which is you must raise the standard of expectation, both internally and externally in the black community, that we're not going to put up with men, because we're both men, fleeing the women that they impregnate. Yeah. That we will say to men that flee the women that they impregnate, you're a loser. Yeah. We're not going to tolerate you. We're not going to be friends with you. That you're the scum of the earth. That if you impregnate a woman and you just run away from them.
Most definitely.
Do we do that right now?
I don't think all men do. I think this is very common.
You know, I think the one regret. Well, the one of the really regretful things after him being murdered, of course, is Charlie Kirk never actually met the black manosphere. Because we can all agree that the guys who run away deserve scorn and punishment and whatnot. I can accept that. Now, the argument that things are the way they are simply because guys just run away. Nah, I don't know if that's actually the evidence. I don't think that we've actually found evidence to prove that the men just run away. I don't even know if they figured out a way to quantify something like absentee fathers, right? How many guys literally just knock up women and just fade off into the background? They just drop the deuce and I'm out of here. We've been told that for a long time, but you know, I wonder what the real records say.
It shows they were actually better in the 1940s. It was bad. It was evil. But what happened? Something changed. They committed less crimes.
Maybe they were afraid. I mean, 4,000 Black men, women, and children were killed in violent lynch mobs.
That's your explanation. But
racial terror permeated American culture for hundreds of years.
Black America is worse than it has been
that affected
in the last 80 years.
The generational psyche of an entire group of people?
Well, I'm sure it did. I'm not discounting that. I'm just, it shows they were.
Now, this is something that was brought up by what was that guy? Byron Johnson or something? Byron Donalds. The idea that under Jim Crow, under peak racial terrorism, we had stronger family ties and networks. We had better educational and social outcomes. And the question is why? Why, when we had that boot on our neck, were we performing at such a high level? It's a very dangerous question. I don't have an answer.
You want me on that wall. You need me on that wall.
I mean, it doesn't fit a narrative. This is my most charitable reading. The narrative that they have pushed forward in the last 10 years is that there is a relentless assault against black people on behalf of white people. And the data does not show that. You brilliantly pointed this out on your program yesterday. In fact, it's the exact opposite. White individuals are actually more likely to be attacked, especially even per capita, by black individuals in this country.
Are they hunting us, or are we hunting them? It seems to me that there is a certain narrative that he was speaking to that I do agree that is kind of the narrative that they would like us to adopt. You know, remember LeBron James, he quite famously said, they hunting us, man. He was talking about, you know, the police during that whole George Floyd era. And so that is like the conversation that a lot of black folk like to just casually throw around, as if we are being hunted and we are being oppressed at every corner. Everywhere we go, it's like whack-a-mole. As soon as a nigga pop his head up, it's a white guy with a mallet. But the numbers would say almost quite literally the opposite. That if there is a hunting going on, we would be the ones hunting. We are doing the hunting, it seems.
The narrative that they have tried to force feed this nation post-2020 is that we are a systemically racist country to our core. We started to say the word racist more. We started to redesign our corporations. We started to teach things in our classrooms that were from the 1619 Project. And all of this has now been met with an appropriate backlash where people said, we're actually not nearly as racist as you say we are. In fact, we're the least racist country ever to exist in the history of the world. And in fact, if you want to actually talk about race-focused activity, why is it that you then ignore all the race-focused activity of black on white crime? Will, I want to live in a race-neutral country. I don't like talking about race all the time. But when I see it, and I see the left ignore it, and we try to make them live up to their own standard of rules that they force-fed us during...
See, he didn't want to talk about black crime and race issues. You made him this way, all right? You made him be like this. He just wanted to love Jesus and make babies. But you guys kept doing your thing. You wanted to have race wars and blame the white man and white supremacy and all of that stuff.
Can a nigga live? Can a nigga live? Please.
During the chaos of 2020, it really goes to show the destruction that this can lead to the entire nation. And the final thing I'll say is this, Will, is that this is more than just a semantic argument. This is more than just whether or not it's a race thing or not. Bad policing practices, consent decrees, opening up the prisons. As you say, $3.3 million is an outgrowth of a media narrative lie. So it's not just an innocent media narrative lie. Real policies get put into place when you don't challenge this nonsense in the public square.
That's it. That's very, very well said, Charlie. Race is a part of the story, not just because of the media's lies of omission. Race is a part of the story, not just because of the potential words from the suspect on the light rail in Charlotte. Race is a part of this story because of the policies implemented by a racial lie post-2020. Right. And that's what we need to remember today. These are a consequence of a lie that created policies. Charlie Kirk, well said, as always. Thank you.
Thank you.
They hunting us.
I see you got an anti-DEI shirt on, so this is about to get good. I personally believe in DEI. I think that actually helps with creating inclusivity within PWIs and predominantly white institutions.
I would say DEI stands for didn't earn it, but that's a separate issue.
Ooh, didn't earn it. You've been working on that? Type. Yes, a lot of people think that.
So I don't know what DEI looks like on this campus. So, yeah, so I can't speak to that. Do you think people should be hired based on their race or their competency?
I don't think that. I think they should be race.
Which one?
My fault.
Yeah.
Sorry. My fault. I think that they should be hired based off their competency, not their race.
We totally agree, right?
Okay.
So what DEI does in practice, not in theory, is it focuses on race more than competency. And
Okay.
that is our concern.
Okay.
And so what I want, and you seem, very passionate about a lot of things, and you obviously have skills. For your life, I want you always to be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. Where DEI says, no, we're actually going to care more about skin color than competency. And so what we want is an America based on merit, America based on how hard you work, an America based on what you bring to the table, not just what you look like.
Did you hear that? He called them a nigger.
Talk about you. How did that impact you? How did something that happened 60 years ago impact your life?
It impacts me all the time.
How?
What do you? Okay.
You're at Texas A&M. You're doing great.
Okay. Yes. Sure. Yeah.
So are you a living example that all that's a bunch of nonsense and you can just act good and behave well and succeed?
But there's also living examples of the exact opposite. If you look in the impoverished neighborhoods in certain parts of Chicago or St. Louis, there's Black communities being thrown aside because they're not getting education.
Thrown aside? Okay,
yes,
so
aside.
I think we can get somewhere. Why have the Black community gotten poorer since the passage of the Civil Rights Act? Tell me that.
Because of the way the culture has been perpetuated through the
Hold
years.
on. Think about it. So they were richer when we were segregated and more racist. America's become less racist.
What about Tulsa?
Yeah, no one's going to defend what happened in Tulsa again. But let's talk.
But that's
Tulsa was still way before the Civil Rights Act. And so, like, if the argument is that Black people wanted freedom or whatever, and so the Civil Rights Act was implemented, so now we got our freedoms, why did freedom make us more poor and more socially chaotic and dysfunctional?
We're talking about a lot of different cities. We're talking about Chicago, Tulsa, but let's again, this is a very important point. Do you think the fact that 70% of Black youth don't have a dad around is probably pretty important?
That's because of the culture.
So respectfully allow me to interject. How does the white culture impact the fact whether or not a Black dad stays around when he impregnates a woman?
I'm not saying it's the white culture.
What is it?
The culture that has been perpetuated through the 200 years of slavery, the 100 years of segregation, and Jim Crow laws.
The marriage. So I got to interject again. I'm sorry. I don't mean to interrupt too much. But in 1960, before the Civil Rights Act, 20% of Black youth had a dad around. Now it's, 20% were single fathers, 80% had a dad around. It's been inverted. So we actually have seen Black dads run away from their kids the last 60 years. Why is that?
Because of the raised incarceration rates, because of the perpetuated culture.
So how does one go to jail?
That's obvious. I'm not answering that question.
Yeah, so maybe it's because they committed crimes.
Okay, but when you're forced it's not just.
And again, that is an argument that needs to be put away also, but I need to see numbers proving that most of the Black fathers wound up in jail and instead of at the home with their children. Tell me it's because they just wound up in jail. Where's the numbers for that? Because what we've been learning through our discussions in this manosphere space is that the women make all kinds of decisions. And what is quite often the result of a woman's decision making, it gets described as the men just disappeared. And so I'm not saying that no guy has ever disappeared on his family. I'm just saying that it can't just be that simple.
This is old, this is in the past, this doesn't affect you anymore.
How do you feel about the Black community receiving reparations?
I'm against that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, why so?
Well, first of all, what
what is the Black community? So, for example, do you mean like recent immigrants from Haiti or Nigeria?
I do not. No.
Okay, for sure. So you're meaning like ancestral descendants of slaves.
Correct.
That
Yes,
can
sir.
be proven with documentation.
Absolutely.
Right? Okay. So to be consistent, do you believe that other groups that have been mistreated in America should also receive reparations?
What are those other groups?
Well, they're not necessarily by America, but let's just take one. Jewish Americans, right?
Okay.
They almost got eliminated in the Holocaust. Should they receive reparations?
Not from us.
Okay, not from us.
Not
but-
from the United States, that is.
Okay. So here's my view, and I want to hear yours,
Okay.
which is that I did not own slaves, and you were not a slave.
Correct.
Right. So we are individuals, and therefore we cannot be held accountable or should receive something from something that didn't happen to us or something we did not do. That is a basic law of justice, that I can't be held accountable for something that somebody looked like me did, and you should not benefit from something that somebody you were related to. Now, you'll probably say systemic racism and how that passed down to generations. Happy to address that. The problem with reparations, though, is basically what you're saying is I'm going to take money from Charlie Kirk for something he didn't do and give it to a group of something, to somebody of something they also didn't do. For what reason? How is that just?
That is a simple, logical problem that I don't think the left really likes to grapple with. And in fact, the left kind of believes in what Thomas Sowell describes as cosmic justice, that the idea that people of today can act in a way that can somehow atone for the crimes of people from a completely different era hundreds of years ago. And so it's like, if you would apply that argument in a way that literally went against them, they would automatically see how this was wrong. Like, why should a child do any time for the crimes that his father committed? Or even worse, let's make a different element on it. If you were ever incarcerated at one point, then your children deserve incarceration. Therefore, if you were ever enslaved at one point, don't your children deserve enslavement? Like, cosmic justice can be perverted into all kind of weird outcomes if you really want to go there. Let's not try to apply justice over the past, right? Let's try to deal with people here and now. And then one of the favorite anti-Black quotes is the crime rate, obviously. I swear to God, I just walked through this very argument live on a panel yesterday, but let's hear it again. The per capita wars are eternal.
Black Americans, about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes,
About
I know
half
this.
of all prisoners are Black.
Exactly.
So Blacks commit more crimes than whites do. They commit more murders. They commit more arsons. They commit more kidnappings. For example, Blacks are 13% of the population, and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Okay, let's talk about it. These are obviously racist claims, but I will respond to them as if Charlie Kirk were a reasonable person.
Black Americans, about 13 to 14% of the population.
Yes, I
About
know
half
this.
of all prisoners are Black.
Wrong. Just 38% of America's prison population is Black. That's
Okay, 38% of America's prison population is Black. And okay, he says this is from the Federal Bureau of Prisons, right? So the two highest groups are Black and white. White at 56%, which roughly tracks, or at least a lot closer tracks to their population size. White people are still slightly above 50% of the population in this country. Black people are nowhere near 38% of the population in this country, yet 38% of the inmates in this country are Black inmates. Welcome to the show, Sharon Bracy. The per capita wars live deeply inside of you. The per capita wars are a battle that rage inside your soul. But you're not alone. A lot of niggas struggle with the per capita wars, bro. Don't ever feel like you're alone in the
So
battle.
my question to you is this: when we talking in actual families,
Who's the
real
majority of the
people,
race in this
why
country?
are we talking in percentages instead of real numbers when we're dealing with real people?
Okay, because percentages are real numbers.
No, percentages, dude, that don't even make sense.
Yes, it does.
Percentages are not real numbers.
Yes, they are.
No, they are not.
The main majority of race in this
Yes,
country.
they are.
White people
percentages are not real numbers. Real numbers would be
percentages
0 through 9. Those are real numbers.
I understand that this may be difficult, but percentages are real numbers. We use
I'm gonna have to tell you that if you have to take a percentage of a number, then you're not talking about raw data. You're not talking about
our percentages
numbers, and we
use percentage to pay our
use
taxes.
percentages to
They are real numbers.
Oh my motherfucking God.
There has to be a connection between the per capita problem that a lot of Black folks seem to display and the African time phenomenon that we talked about recently. I haven't really connected these disparate invisible dots yet, but something in my gut tells me that there is there's a conceptual connection between the problem of African time and the problem of per capita and the modern American Negro. Red Illusion says, I can't buy my weave in percentage. Do they sell quarter bundles?
According to the U.S. government. But it makes you wonder why Charlie feels the need to add an additional 12% to the Black prison population. Could it be because his bigoted talking points only work if he exaggerates them? If Charlie were actually looking for the race that makes up half the prison population in the U.S., he'd look no further than white people at 57%.
Exactly. So Blacks commit more crimes than whites do.
Wrong. The word so.
Now, this very stylish, smug TikTok video completely ignores the problem of per capita and percentage.
Is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that sentence.
Exactly. So Blacks commit more crimes.
He's saying so, as in therefore, as in one could conclude, but Charlie knows he's lying. Even if he hadn't just lied about the Black prison population, Charlie is smart enough to know that correlation does not equal causation, but he's hoping that you don't know that. So he deploys the word so to make you think he's coming to an obvious conclusion.
Exactly. So Blacks.
Instead, he's making an illogical racist leap. Charlie knows that we don't have usable data about who commits crimes. It's impossible to have.
Freeman's Journal. You know, I've been mentioning this. I've been calling this out by name lately. The suburban radicals. I think you kind of coined that better than I ever did. But the suburban radicals are like really the intellectual bane of Black existence. They stand as a stopping point against any real community social change. It is the Black intellectuals who do the most work to keep Black fathers out of the home.
That data, since so many crimes go both unreported and or unsolved. Charlie knows that we only have data about arrests and convictions. I'll come back to that data in a moment. What's painfully obvious is that Charlie Kirk isn't interested in understanding the statistics he so carelessly misquotes. He's interested in making bad faith arguments, something that becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty,
I wonder if he's going to pull up numbers about murder rates.
He would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, Black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations. In fact,
no, he's not going to bring up the actual Black murder rate numbers. He almost got me for a second. Thought he was going to do something honest, but no, he did some nigga shit. God damn.
Black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations. Specifically, Black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. And then people like you have the nerve to...
Yeah, but that's like less than 5% a year, though. Less than 200, I think it was about 150 something people that actually got exonerated, which means if half of those are Black, then it's like 75 guys roughly.
parade these stats around as though they prove something. The reality is that you probably know these stats, but you leave them out on purpose. Because to bring that stat into this conversation,
Charlie literally brought up murder just now.
Something that becomes even the statistics he so carelessly misquotes. He's interested in making bad faith arguments. Something that becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested...
Do you need to hear that again? Because I know Sharon, and I said we're not going to have, Sharon Bracey on the Lord's Day, so you're not going to be invited up to the panel today. No Bracey yoga poses on the Lord's Day. We're not a Bible thumping community over here, but we do believe and respect in the Lord. And so there will be no yoga Bracey poses up here today. But for the sake of argument, I think you need to hear this over and over again because you have a hard time accepting new information when you stand on a point and now you've been proven wrong.
Becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
Wrong becomes even more obvious in his next point.
Blacks are 13% of the population and they commit 58% of all the murders.
And again, he cannot, nor does he even try to debunk the numbers. He does not try to debunk the numbers. He moves right past that to emotional manipulation, which I'm sure you're very familiar with, Mr. Bracey Yoga Pose.
Wrong again, and loud this time. If Charlie were interested in honesty, he would have mentioned the other 1350 statistic. Yes, Black people are about 13% of the population, but make up 53% of all criminal exonerations. In fact, Black people make up 55% of all murder exonerations. Specifically, Black people are more likely than any other group in this country to be convicted of crimes they did not commit. And then people like you have the nerve to
And don't think I haven't noticed that you made the exact same argument with the exact same fallacy as this suburban radical nigga. Don't think I haven't noticed you stealing. There's cameras everywhere, Sharon. Niggas be stealing and shit. Always thieving. Can't help it. Niggas always thieving on something, bro. Shit terrible, man. Shit really is terrible. I wish niggas would really stop so much thieving. Every time I turn around, there's a nigga stealing something. Niggas say they got all this shit, but every time you look, there's a nigga in your shit stealing. Murders and thieves, bro. Just stealing and killing.
Parade these stats around as though they prove something. The reality is that you probably know these stats, but you leave them out on purpose. Because to bring that stat into this conversation would make some people think. And that's the last thing a person like you wants.
See, you can't disprove the 1350 because 1350 is about murder in particular. It's not about all crime, like stealing pens from your job. Like on Friday where you got 5 for stealing boxes. It's not about all crime. It's about capital crime. And you've never managed to disprove that. All I've heard people do is shift the argument to the, we get exonerated most thing. No, you don't. That doesn't even matter. But shout out to those guys who didn't do it. Charlie Kirk died. Main character syndrome on display.
And I can't shut up. I wish I could. I really wish I could shut the fuck up, but I can't.
Let me read a couple of these super chats and I'm gonna get up out of here. Shout out to Face Facts with the $4.99. They'd rather be called racist than admit black women are the problem. Yeah, that is a right-wing issue. You know, the right wing is still kind of blue-pilled. You know, we're making progress. We're making progress. I'm going to show you some of that right as we're closing. The right wing is making progress, but there's a lot of blue-pilling on the right. A lot of people are afraid to call out that final boss, you know?
But does anyone see that? No. Does anyone care about that? No. All they see is an aggressive black girl talking.
Shout out to Clue Studios with the 5 ball. He says, educated blacks are submissive to dysfunctional blacks. They are told to never forget where you came from for this reason. Yeah, that is a long, old problem in the black community, this sort of survivor's guilt and this gravitational pull toward the lowest common denominator of the culture. It's like if you're not behaving like the niggas, or if you're not behaving in a way that's acceptable to niggas, then somehow you're not performing blackness properly.
But black power starts with black women. It just does.
Because there are a lot of people in this country who do not like black women, but black women are the base of the Democratic Party.
There's this myth out there that black men can't handle being spoken to, and told what to do by black women. Black men come from our bodies.
Yeah.
So they're used to having these conversations with women.
The matriarchy is strong with the black
It is
community.
very strong.
I think a lot of the pressure has to start with and come from the women, meaning that a certain amount of pressure has to be applied to the women, which then in turn will create like a sort of a feedback loop where the women will then start to apply that pressure themselves internally. Because this is basically how female culture works, right? Once the herd gets a signal that they have to shift into another direction, it may take a minute for the herd to move, because a big herd takes a while to shift. It's like a ship turning on ocean, right? Sometimes it takes a minute, but eventually they will get the shift. I was speaking about that in regards to white women as well. Shout out to Chocolate Bunny for gifting that 1 membership. Thank you out there to the new member.
Again, okay, I'm gonna say it again. I come in the name of Jesus. Repeat it after me, bitch. I come in the name of Jesus by the power of the Holy Spirit.
I was talking about this phenomenon of the women kind of having to, almost by necessity, they have to be a major part of any social change in whatever direction you're going in. So like on the left, women have been a major driving force of the left-wing culture. They kind of hold the line of what is morally acceptable on the left. It's not men on the left who get to decide or dictate what is morally acceptable or socially acceptable. Like, how many times the idea of the HR manager is inherently a feminine position just by cultural phenomenon. That is not an accident. And now I argue that now that right-wing culture is becoming cool and sexy, and I've called this out for a while. I've been predicting this and waiting for this to kind of shift, and I've been watching it slowly develop. And now where we have such a watershed catalyst moment like we just witnessed with Charlie Kirk, the girls are starting to shift too. Because the girls and cozy where all the people are. The girls hate to be caught outside of the party.
So why would you?
It's like personal for you.
Well, a little bit.
Yeah.
And anyway, like, who is this kid exactly?
Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is.
White girls are white girling again. For a while, it looked like it was over. For a minute there, I thought these bitches were going to be rapping for the rest of my life. White girls are white girling again. America is healing, y'all. America is healing. I told you, Ken loves Barbie. Always has, always will. She might give Ken some shit every now and then. Ken might have to go upside her head every now and then, but you know, Ken loves Barbie.
In the CIA, my sleeves. You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm being accused of being the CIA by Peter.
Yeah, this music is definitely gonna get me demonetized. We were doing good this whole time, but woo, I had to let you hear this one.
My sleeves. You want to call me out? Sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. I'm being accused of being the CIA by Peter.
White girls, white girling to Nick Fuentes in the background saying, sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch. What can the left wing possibly do to counter this type of vibe? If you're a left wing political activist, if you're politically motivated on the left, how do you counter this when the white women are white girling to Nick Fuentes in the background saying, sit down and shut the fuck up, bitch? And she's just listening to it, just white girling away. How do you fight this? How do you fight back? And she's pretty too.
Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America.
She is America. Look at that. Look at that. This is like the opposite of Girls Gone Wild. This is Girls Gone Fascist. It is literally the complete opposite of Girls Gone Wild. This is Girls Gone Fascism, all right? It starts like this, and then by next spring, they'll be marching, they'll be goose-stepping. They'll be wearing the uniforms, they'll be raising their arm with their armband up proudly. This is how it starts, I'm telling you. Once the pretty girls go fascist, the ugly bitches got nowhere left to run.
And it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is in the CIA, for him to say that I'm in the CIA.
Who is this kid exactly?
Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America?
See? Where the hot girls go, the mids will follow. Do you understand how that works? This is a really simple visual depiction of the female body politic, all right? Where the hot bitches go, the mids will follow. Always has been, always will be. I don't make the rules, okay? I am just learning the rules myself, and I'm here to report back my findings.
I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. It is insulting, and it's the CIA cutout. Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America.
Where the hot girls go, the mids will follow. Listen, I didn't even disrespect them enough to say they were fugly or ugly. I'm not even doing that, all right? Fascism gives you an instant 5-point boost, okay? So I'm not even going to say anything disparaging beyond mids, all right? Mid isn't unattractive. Most people are mid because mid is literally average. But where the hot girls go, the mids will follow. Pumpkin spice for everybody.
And it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is in the CIA, for him to say that I'm in the CIA. What a joke. Who's the poser? Who is America?
Corporate Becky. Oh man, don't let it happen to Corporate Becky. Listen, if Corporate Becky goes sash, gay jokes are back. Retard jokes are back. Gonna be smoking in the men's room. Listen, if we get Corporate Becky, it's over. That is the last chip to fall. Once corporate Becky gets in on it, the rules start to change really hard. Look at her, all blonde hair, blue eyes. She's just built for the fashion wave.
I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence.
Girl next door.
Cutout. Who's the poser? Who?
Even the cute weird bitches. Oh my God! Damn! We even got the cute weird bitches. No. Even the cute weird bitches are going with the fashion wave, man. This is amazing. It's like so many different species of Becky are joining the movement. You don't understand what a watershed what a watershed moment this is. All right. We got the hot girls, we got the mids, we got the girl next doors, we got the corporate Becky, we have the cute weird bitches, we have everybody coming. Everybody is getting in on this right now. Right? This is a new wave. Everybody must eat.
Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Everybody must eat. Yes.
Who is America? I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say he doesn't know his dad is in the CIA.
Not gonna lie though, that clip was going hard though. When Fuentes was going at Tucker Carlson, bro, I swear to God, it really was great to watch it happen. Because like it just became so obvious. And I like Tucker. I've been a Tucker fan for a while, right? But at the same time, I noticed the little red bracelet too.
For him to say that. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America?
Oh, stop. All right, there's all kind of things going on here.
I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser?
Like I said, mids unite. All the mids can unite under the fashion wave. Hot girls, raise the banner high. Strike your banners and call to the mids. The mids are marching at dawn. The mids unite. Hot girls have risen the banners and you all march at dawn.
Who is America? I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there and say, who's the poser? Who is America? I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to sit there. Who's the CIA cutout? Who's the poser? Who is America?
Oh my God, even the scary ones. Oh, I forgot about Scary Spice, y'all. Oh, yeah, even the scary bitches, they're getting in on it. We got the scary bitches, y'all. She's going to bring her daddy's gun. Just in case. You never know. But she kind of, she makes me nervous. She looked like she up to something. Notice they all removed their septum rings, right? Septum rings are about to go out of style real quick.
America. I am America. It is insulting, and it is insulting to everybody's intelligence for Tucker to.
Trying to tell you, man. The youth are on some other shit. The youth are on a different wave. The youth are on a whole new level right now. You don't even understand. And then, like I said, I've been watching this grow. So I've been predicting it as much as I've been watching it germinate. And it's been unstoppable. I knew from the moment I kind of latched on to this whole corner of Americana, I knew it would play out exactly this way. The women would eventually get involved. And not only that, I knew that because a lot of women are unsafe at this moment. Women generally have a sense of fear and unsafety out in the world with a bunch of dudes all over the place and shit. Because, like, imagine what it is to be in a female body surrounded by men who could theoretically all kill you, right? So I accept that there's a level of fear that just comes along with being a woman anyway. And then I start noticing all the crime and the violence. And I did a show a while back, the Traveling Sisterhood of Women Who Got Punched in the Face in NYC, right? It was like a weird phenomenon of white women all around New York City making TikToks, telling their stories of just like randomly getting punched in the face by, you know, black and brown people, men and women. And so I knew that eventually the white girls would get tired of this shit. I knew sooner or later the white girls would break. They would get tired of being fodder for the utopia of leftism. You know, everybody likes dreams and all that. We all like rainbows and butterflies and shit. But if I got to get stabbed in the heart, well, fuck butterflies, bitch. Buying guns now. Her boyfriend has a shotgun. You know, it's a whole new wave right now. And I called it. The youth are going to be different. The youth are on some other shit. And all in all, you know, it gets darkest before the dawn and all that stuff. Cliches out there. But it has to be this way. You want a civilization or not? It's really that simple.
Somebody had to do it. I am the chosen one. Somebody had to do it.
Hit that like button, guys. Thank you so much for watching. We are going to wrap this one up. Got one special thing for you on the way out the door.
Our hard work, our contribution. But what are we doing? We are bounded by the chains of unemployment, being abroad in search of opportunities. We are trapped by the selfish games of political parties. Corruption has woven a web that is extinguishing the light of our futures. Youth, rise! We are the torch bearers of change. If we do not raise our voices, who will? If we do not raise our voices, who will? If we do not build this nation, who will? We are the fire that will burn away the darkness. We are the storm that will sweep away injustice and bring prosperity. Our heart.
Aspiring to be patriarchs like what white men have, that isn't freedom. That isn't going to help anybody. It's certainly not going to help black people.
It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. It's done.
None of these niggas have motion except for me. There has to be one real nigga left in America, in this damn country.